What is going on, everybody? We have the TFT patch notes or patch 13.8. Let's take a look at the highlights. First thing I'm going to look out for is the hacker nerfs. It's right there. And then next is Shen. Shen is right there too. Shen is played in almost every comp and he's just very powerful character right now. So all is good in the world. I am expecting Anima buff, so Nasus and Jinx are buffed up. I wonder if that is going to be enough for them. But let's go on to the rest. Hearts, Gangplank, Lux, Rammus, Bel'Veth, Scope Weapons, and 10 hero augments are also getting buffed. Infiniteam, Blitzcrank, Lucian, Gnar, Kai'Sa, and then 5 hero augments getting nerfed. I forgot about Blitzcrank, I'm gonna be honest. Lucian as well. Lucian's like very powerful in the last patch. It's gonna be interesting. Do you want to nerf Quick Draw trait directly or nerf the 2 units? They're going towards the 2 units, which I kind of respect because it keeps MF at around the same power, and hopefully with the Nasus and Jinx buff, Anima Squad is gonna be back on the menu. Adjusting Underground and then also reworking Oxforce, that was long awaited. So we're going to definitely see what they did exactly with that. So Mecha Cosmetics, Maximum Mecha Chest, and Mecha Malphite are here. So they're going to cost $390. Mecha Malphite is going to be 2% chance guaranteed on 61st egg and box. This is what it looks like. It's actually pretty decent. I wonder what the cutscene is going to be. This is how the other person looks like. And then new Mecha Little Legends. Okay, so we have Shisa. Not my favorite, but I know some people who use them. Burno's actually pretty funny. I kind of like this guy a little bit. And then we have Squink. I'm not the biggest Squink fan, but I could see why people like Squink. So let's move on into the large changes. Large like a mech that transforms into a planetary drill. So Hackers, the elephant in the room, Oxforce. Let's see what they did. All right, Hacker Omnivamp. Oh my God, 30 to 10, 40 to 20, 50 to 40. Let's see if there's compensation. The Rider Omnivamp is being reduced from 10 to 0 at 3 Hacker, 20 to 15, and then 30% and 30%. Hackers now target the closest enemy rather than preferring the back row. Okay, so all those weird positionings don't really work anymore. That's it. Okay, let me read this because I thought there'd be some compensation. So the extra Omnivamp the Rider and Hacker champions receive is an added bonus, but with the current power of just the backline axis, there's no reason to grant Omnivamp 2. We're reducing the Omnivamp significantly at 3 Hacker to the most common breakpoint. Yeah, because it's the only breakpoint you could use without extra emblems. So like, what do they want here? To provide backline access, while giving a smaller nerf to the Omnivamp at further trait breakpoints. But who ever actually reached 5 Hacker? It was extremely rare. There are only 3 Hacker units. Wow. Okay, so this is pretty big. So was Hacker that OP? I would say Hacker was OP. We had them 2 Hacker comps in the S tier. Was it this OP? I personally don't think so. Maybe I'd like to see a 10 and 10. Oh, maybe a 20 and 0. Ah, man, that's really tough. LeBlanc was very strong. There's no denying that. And then if you keep this at 10, then Gnar is the same power. Maybe just nerf some of the Gnar bugs then, because Gnar was bugged. So we'll find that in the bug fixes. We'll check later. So I won't rush to judgments quite yet. Heart AP per cast, 4, 7, and 10 being changed to 4, 7, 11. Doesn't really do much. 6 heart is really rare. Infiniteam damage and HP per alternate version is being nerfed at 5 Infiniteam and 7 Infiniteam. Okay, I actually like this a lot. Don't touch the 3. Yeah, I thought 3 was fine. And then 5, you get such a big power spike. I wonder if Infiniteam's going to turn into a laser cord type of trait where it's like S tier if you get the augment for it, but then A or B tier if you don't. Would be interesting to kind of see because it really does unlock the full potential of the comp. Reworking Oxforce. So once per combat, when they would drop below 1 HP, they instead shield themselves for 50% of their max health for 1.5 seconds. Probably still going to be pretty solid. Oxforce, Armor, and MR is being nerfed to compensate for that as well. Let's read the Oxforce section. So normally I don't read these because I just want to see the changes first, but if there's anything weird going on, such as the Oxforce one, which is a pretty big change, we'll check out what's going on. So they're worried about the reset champions. They're worried about aces and stuff like that. And then because these shields provide more but temporary health for Oxforce units, they're reducing the Armor and MR since they also amplify the strength of this shield. Okay, so that reasoning makes sense. Is it going to be weaker? Probably, because a lot of times Oxforces were strong because like you could have an unitemized Oxforce unit and they tank for a ridiculously long amount of time. So overall, it still should be a nerf from what I'm looking at it. It depends on the interaction though. Like some teams that just do like a bit of AoE damage. They don't really focus one unit down at a time. It's going to be a little different, but I guess this change kind of affects that. It depends if you have AoE damage versus single target damage. Underground Toma traits will no longer drop from Heist 4 or higher. Onto the units tier 1. Blitzcrank, yeah, Blitzcrank is very oppressive. Getting some pretty decently sized nerfs here. 55, 60, 65 to 50, 52, 55. Wow, that's actually pretty big, but his stats still improve when you level him up, so I think he still should be okay. It depends how good the admin units are. Gangplank armor and MR being buffed up a little bit. Trial by fire damage being buffed up by quite a bit as well. Lucian Chrono Barrage damage is being reduced just a tad. Actually like a medium amount. And then Lux Lucent Singularity is being buffed. Nasus buff, Nasus armor and MR buff, Nasus bonk AD ratio buff. Wow, are we going to finally get the stacks on stacks Nasus that we all love to play? Maybe. So for Gangplank, is this enough to make him OP? I remember they buffed him a small amount in the last set, and then all of a sudden, Flaming Ricochet was everywhere. Is that going to happen? Lucian, I think, is fine. He was very, very strong, but I do wonder if he's going to be decent in, like, Infiniteam still. Like, obviously, Infiniteam's getting hit quite a bit right now because he is a big part of their early game, but the nerfs mostly look like they're in the 3-star version, because it's nerfed around like 15% approximately, whereas the 1-star is just nerfed around 10%. 2-stars actually getting a pretty big touch as well, but very interesting to see. Lux definitely needed the buffs. Her targeting is just more consistent, so it's easier to play around her, but if you want to use her as your carry, it's a bit worse because she doesn't target random units. So there's always some give and take for everything in life, including in TFT. Units tier 2, Jinx AD 50 to 55, Jinx max mana buff 20 out of 80 to 0 out of 60. Holy cow. Okay, I think Jinx reroll is back. This is a very big buff down here. So we have Jinx reroll in the B tier. I suspect this could go up to A tier. The mana changes are always so big, especially something as big as this. 15, wow. She's going to get a lot of casts up. That's all I'm going to say. Units tier 3, Gnar AD being nerfed a bit. Kaisa Star Charge damage is being nerfed as well. And then Rammus Sand Slam stun duration is being buffed to 1.5 seconds. I'm assuming that's at all levels. Stand United duration is being changed to 4 seconds flat. And then Stand United damage reduction is being nerfed by a tiny bit. So Gnar definitely deserved. Maybe they could have just nerfed Gnar and then kept the hacker healing intact for the hackered units. Yeah, I mean, I know Gnar got some buffs, but not getting the extra healing is a bit weird. Let's see if they fixed his Gnar bug where if he had Prankster, it removed the Gadgettine buff. If they did that, we'll have to reassess our assessment on him. Kaisa, definitely pretty big hits there. Is she still going to be playable? Again, Kaisa's so hard to balance. She's either like the most useless unit or the most OP unit. So last patch, she was pretty good, and then 2 patches ago, she was like pretty bad. So does this bring her back to pretty bad? At first glance, I would say so. Also, Lucian got nerfed, so going into the quick draw tree kind of like is a bit weaker because of that. Rammus is, yeah, I haven't seen much Rammus, so I think this is pretty deserved. Maybe they could have just upped his other stats though and not make him like a stun bot. I think I would have preferred to see that, but overall, like, Rammus buffs are okay or whatever. Units tier 4, Belveth, Endless Banquet, bonus attack speed per cast is being buffed up to a tiny bit. Was she needing of a buff? I always thought she was good in, like, a mech build, but it doesn't really look like they're touching mech here. But hero augments, Lucian Enchanted Ammo AP per auto is being, wow, 2 to 1. Are they over-nerfing Lucian? Okay, if this is the worst augment, you know why. If it's not going to be the worst augment, maybe like Riot is right. So we'll see about that. Pantheon, the best offense, is being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, pretty much both Pantheon augments were pretty good, so both of them, I would say, deserved a nerf. Renekton, Reign of Anger, AS per missing AP. This one, data-wise, was doing really badly. I'm pretty sure for all the hero augments, they just look at the data and then adjust accordingly. Wukong Cyclone AP is being buffed up by 8, so that is pretty sizable. Though it is like a smaller part of the augment, the main thing that you get is the range from it. Rising Spellforce bug now correctly grants stacks when parallel is active. I didn't know that was a bug. Cleansing Safeguard, missing HP heal. Yeah, I mean, they over-nerfed this way too much. Is this going to bring it back in line? It was the worst augment of 2 costs, I'm pretty sure. If not, like the second worst. So the thing about this is that it kind of like stacks on itself because he kind of casts so often. So maybe 15% isn't. No, I still don't. I don't think it's going to be mediocre. I think it's going to be below average, but it might not be the worst augment ever anymore. LeBlanc, mirror clone image. Wow, 75% to 99%. I already thought this was pretty good. Rammus Armadillo buffed up a little bit. Yeah, but hopefully the Rammus buff makes it so this is unnecessary. So I don't know if they needed to do this. Shen Recursion Matrix base damage reduction. I always said that this was one of the best tank augments in the game, if not the best. So yeah, maybe nerf it a little more. I'm not really too sure. Vayne Spread Shot, nearby enemy damage being dropped a little bit. Vex Siphon, ally healing, 22% to 30%. This was over nerfed before, so I guess they're giving some juice back into it. I just checked the notes. They nerfed her before from 22% to 11%, but now it says 22% to 30%. Which one was it? Did that nerf never go through or something like that? Echo's Destructive Resonance is being changed from 2 to 3 hexes, and then Damage Amp is being changed from 250 to 200. Okay, maybe this could work a little bit more. Does he have to 2-shot the enemy? Because definitely isn't going to 1-shot with the damage nerf. So maybe he could 2-shot them. That could be interesting to try to make him live longer. And with the increased range, it makes him more reliable. Leona Perfected Solar Flare mana reduction is being changed from 30 to 40. Wow, that's pretty big mana reduction. I guess you want to build like healing and then as much like damage as possible on her so that she recasts right away. Urgot Rising Tide bonus AS is being changed from 40% to 50%. I don't really like this one. I like Shiny a lot more just because it's more fun. I never really see a reason to take this one unless you're like forced to. Augments is another buff for Belveth. Scope weapons, 10 to 12%. Also for Jax too. Let's move on into the small changes. So Ace now requires dealing damage to execute. Okay, so it does not work for the Oxforce shield. So Oxforce is still good against aces. I mean, that change is fine. If not, Oxforces would be just so bad against them. You'd just like throw in an ace for fun to counter them. So yeah, this change makes complete sense. This is a Starfire, not a Ceasefire. Kale, Starfire Spellblade, cast no longer locks her out of attacking for a brief period. Did not know that happened. All right, let's see if the Gnar, okay. Gnar's spell will now properly show the crit damage indicator when it critically damages its primary target. Gnar's spell can no longer double crit the primary target if he has a spell crit item. But they don't fix the Gadgettine bug with Prankster. Very interesting. Maybe they fixed it but didn't say it because sometimes that happens. But let's go to this one because we skipped it. Fix a bug where hero augments were tailored based on your currently active board rather than previous board's combat. One issue I ran into was I was running Gadgettine and I had a Gadgettine Warmogs and it was on one of my units. And then I got offered Big Friend even though I didn't have anyone in the Big Friend threshold because I had it from Warmogs that disappears from Gadgettine. So did they fix that? Doesn't really seem like it, but at least this is a step in the right direction. Annie's ability icon now matches her spell. Time Knife Shen damage no longer scales with damage amp. Mistimed Hyperbolic Time Chamber now awards XP on the correct cast. Too old for middle school. Reflection can no longer grant Gadgettine items. Fix a bug with Anima Squad emblem wasn't giving listed AP. Wow, was this the issue with Anima Squad? Was it just a bug and that's why it was weak? Oh, that'd be very interesting. I hope that's the case. Tooltip fixes for Radiant, Quicksilver, and Zephyr. Corrected typo on Riftwalker Crest Augment. Tooltip fix to add magic damage next to Nico's ability. Ace Crest can no longer be offered on 2-1 or 3-2. Interesting they decided to do this because they accidentally did this in the last patch and it was not supposed to be offered then, but it was offered. But then they realized it wasn't that bad or that good, so they didn't remove it from a hotfix or something like that. But interesting that they do decide to take it out. Thankful for this one, Lee Sin now grants tank items from Infiniteam and Lucky Gloves. Rising Spell Force, Ezreal Hero Augment now correctly grants stacks when parallel is active. Solo Q Yasuo fix an issue with Yasuo Steel Tempest targeting. I wonder if they need to buff Yasuo's carry augment, because I didn't really see that being touched, but data-wise, it's pretty awful. Magnets, how do they work? Gadgettine item, Magnetized Onyx Spark now deals damage correct. Was it really not dealing? Actually, someone told me about this bug. It's like a high-level player, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it because you can't control like what items your Gadgettine spit out. Okay, so let's try to summarize this patch. Okay, hacker comps, they look pretty dead to me. That's a lot of lifesteal they're losing. Like, your LeBlanc loses 30% lifesteal or whatever it was. That's a very big amount. So yeah. Then they nerf Gnar in like multiple ways. One is the hacker healing, one on Gnar's AD, and then they also fixed some of his bugs that helped him, but they didn't fix the bug that hurts him. So that seems a little weird to me. Kaisa, yeah, it seems like pretty big numbers wise that she got nerfed. So is she gonna be even playable? I'm hoping she's gonna be like A tier, like not S tier, but like maybe like A tier. I'm hoping. Don't quote me on that because what I hope for and what like might actually happen are two different things. I'm thinking she's gonna be B tier, but again, hoping for A tier. Blitzcrank fully deserved. Shen still gonna be good. Anima Squad, I'm hopeful for Anima Squad. So if they ever become too powerful, like obviously all their augments are gonna be really good. However, just keep in mind when you do go for Anima, you have like a lot of copies of the units. I wonder if I should update my hero augment guide for next patch. So let me know down in the comments below if you found it helpful. Scope weapons buff is like a slight Jax buff as well, but I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue. Maybe Jax is good though because a lot of other comps got nerfed. And then the comps that did get buffed are like one cost rerolls. I think were like mainly the buffs. Let's double check. So it's like Oxforce change. Don't really know how to quantify that yet because it's going to be very different based on how the teams are built out. Maybe you don't want to go for 4 Oxforce. Maybe you're just chilling at 2. Infinite teams got nerfed though. The only things that got buffed is like Gangplank and Lux and Nasus, and those are like mainly for rerolls or something like that. Like who really like this doesn't make Anima Squad like that much stronger. It does make it a little bit stronger, but not by that much. So it's like for sure Jinx definitely is a lot stronger though. But apart from that, like what comp actually got buffed a bunch? Like I don't see any comps. I see some champions getting buffed, but nothing that's like really like comp defining. So because of that, is Jax like decent in the next patch? Probably, because it didn't get touched. Maybe Jhin gets part of the spotlight. Maybe Spell Slingers become S tier again. Maybe Laser Cores are still strong. So I'll be updating the meta snapshot on Friday, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, what you think they did correctly this patch, what you think they did incorrectly, down in the comments below. Eager to read out what you guys are thinking. And also, if you want to discuss further, like head on over to the Discord, discord.gg/BunnyMuffins if you want to like talk to other people about this. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it from me for this video. I hope to see you guys in the next one.